and this is a new segment brought to you by Alex and Mao. So I think Reddit has a lot of really good questions and thought provoking things on it. I
Yeah.
think Reddit is still the best social media website, and their IPO performance has definitely displayed that, like basically doubled in like the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, when you
um,
think about it, yeah, Reddit is like
Reddit is phenomenal. I
because the
love
thing I
Reddit.
like about Reddit is that there's so much subsections. Like you could find very specific Reddit like subreddits for everything that you're experiencing or going through or doing or pursuing. Right? Like I even found
Yeah,
one for CPA candidates, like for everybody to talk about their studying. I'm like, and there's no character limits.
yeah,
There's no really like pictures. We can share pictures and stuff, but it's lit. It's lit.
yeah.
I've been
So
using it a lot more lately.
we're going to do, what is one ugly truth you learned as you got older? We're gonna answer that question. You want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
You go first. 'Cause I need some time to still think. I have to deal with a lot of ugly truths.
Yeah. So do you have to only pick one. So
I know.
try to filter it down. One ugly truth that I learned as I got older is that nobody gives a fuck about you, and that goes for really, and it's not everybody. Like, let me reword that.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
One ugly truth that I learned as I got older is that nobody gives a fuck now about you.
Yeah.
Now, this is of course not applicable to everybody. I'm not saying that everybody's parents hates them. I'm not saying that specifically, but I think everybody has the capacity to not give a fuck about you, even the people that you think are like the person that should care more than anybody. So that does go for parents, family members, like your boss, your like anybody. Literally anybody has the ability to not care about you. And you could see in the way that people treat their kids, you see in the way family members could treat you, like your boss might hate you,
Mm-hmm.
your significant other might hate you.
Yeah.
Everybody really has the propensity to like really not care about your
Yeah.
well-being and will also do things purposefully to harm your well-being as well.
Yeah.
And I think some people, I think a lot of people get taken advantage of that fact because people will think in their mind, this is supposed to be my best friend. This is
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be my mom. They're supposed to care about me more than anybody. And so they go into the relationship just thinking like basically naive
Yeah.
to the fact that this person could really harm you. And that's one thing I had to learn is that you should take everything that everybody says, regardless of their title in your life. You should take it with a grain of salt and understand that this person could do you harm too.
Yeah.
So
And that doesn't, like I said, that doesn't mean like be paranoid or whatever. Like that doesn't mean like,
just be aware that
yeah.
the world is not a pretty place and that people do some real horrible, evil things. Even the people that you would assume wouldn't do anything like that to you, they very well could.
Yeah.
And don't let somebody's title or status in your life be the one thing that prevents you from thinking that.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to learn that, like, no, your friends will snake you. Your family members might not have the best mentality on you or wish the best for you.
Yeah.
Like this could be applicable for everything, like relationships, friendships. At any point, someone could turn on you in an instant, and it could be for any reason. It might not even be for anything you necessarily did. So that's my one ugly truth I learned over the years.
Yeah.
Now it's your turn. Go ahead.
I'm still thinking.
You still thinking? Come on. You know,
Ugly truth.
we are young. We have not lived that long for
I
you
know.
to be thinking that much.
Um.
All right, just pick one. It doesn't have to be the most, but just pick one ugly truth that you learned.
um. Whoa. Sorry, Yankees just won, so we had to witness that. Ugly truth, Lord. Wait, why can't I think of one? You know what's funny? I literally just like let me get some ideas real quick from this TikTok I just reposted.
Yeah, go get some ideas. In the meantime, I just hit on FanDuel for the Yankees winning.
Yay.
I doubled up the bet.
Let's
Yeah,
see. Let me see. Let me see.
is it gonna take long? Cause you're selling the
No,
clip
no,
right now.
no, no, no. Um. I feel like maybe my ugly truth could be about um
you can't pick one.
Maybe okay. You know what my ugly truth could be because about me that because it kind of goes with this how like sometimes being and I kind of just talked about it a little bit with the last topic, but sometimes being like a neutral people pleasing type of person is like the one of the worst type of people that you could be. That for me is the ugly truth because it had to make me reevaluate who I am as a person, like who I've always been, and how it's done more harm for everybody, including myself. I feel that's the ugly truth. Because and you're and you know you are like a people pleaser, you know, a happy go lucky, calm person, like you know, trying to keep the peace always person for a reason. Because you just want everything to be fun, you want everything to be peaceful, you want everything to be happy. But sometimes I realize that being that person, like I said, does harm for everybody because like people are not, you know, some people are not realizing what they're doing is harmful. So you being a people pleaser and trying to be nice to them, you're not correcting their action, which could help them. And you're also not correcting their action that's harming you. So yeah, like, you know, being non-confrontational, you end up just being, it ends up backfiring. Because in my opinion, no matter what type of person you are in this life, you're always going to have someone who doesn't like you, or so you're always going to have an enemy. So it's like, if you're going to be a non-confrontational and a calm, people pleaser person, you might as well not, because being that way, you're going to get enemies anyway. Like, think about my situation, right? I feel like I've been that type of person, and I still have problems with people in my life, being that type of person. So imagine if I wasn't. Then I still might have those same enemies, but at least I would have more respect. At least I would have said stuff that I should have said. At least I would have corrected things I should have said, and I would have prevented me from going through stuff. And it would have maybe changed trajectory of some people's lives if I would have said something.
Yeah.
So that's the ugly truth I've dealt with. And it's like I'm still dealing with it because I feel like I still am a type of person that's a people pleaser. I still overextend myself. I still don't necessarily put up boundaries with people, and it still has a negative effect on me and life in general. So
yeah,
that's definitely an ugly truth.
As being a victim of that from you, definitely. Like,
you're a victim of my people pleasing?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, duh. That's kind
because you allow people to run, and what the crazy part about that is that even me as an 18-year-old, 17-year-old, 19-year-old kid, I was still saying that same exact thing. Like I always brought that up. Like, never, like, you let everybody walk over you. Even to this day, will continue to allow everybody to walk over you. And even in a past life when our relationship was trash, you allow me to do that.
Yeah.
So like, you've always allowed people to basically do whatever they want to you, and for the whole purpose of keeping the peace, you never said anything, or if you did say it, you said it to me, which is impactful to me because now I have to deal basically with your issue. I mean, that's part of being in a relationship, is dealing with the other person's issues, but it's allowing you allowed too much to be introduced into our relationship by simply not speaking up about certain things, because then I have to deal with whatever you're going through when you could, and it's not like, that's just how you are. So it's not like your fault, like you're purposely making these decisions.
Yeah.
But it does make it tough to be in a relationship sometimes when there's a lot of problems that get introduced based on that people pleasing aspect, because you're harming yourself first and foremost, and you're my number one priority. I tried to explain this the other day. Like, there's not much in my life that exists with much more of a priority than you. Like, there really is not. Like, aside from maybe myself, there's not many other things that bother me, or like that I would be stressed about, or any of those things. It's really just you. I'm not stressed about work. Like, I'm good enough at what I do. I'm more than skilled enough to care about not being able to find a job. Like, money is not an issue. Like, my job is not an issue. My health is not an issue for the moment, thankfully. Like, there's not a lot of things. It's really just you. But you've allowed so many times, and even continuously, to allow people to walk over you and not stand up for yourself, or you do actually have a view that you just don't want to share because you want to keep the peace and you don't want people to hate you because you had a history of maybe you said something and then everybody might turn against you because you simply spoke up and chose a side, and you rather care about other people's feelings about you than caring about your own feelings and what you're going through.
Yeah.
And yeah. So I've been a victim of it, from you harming yourself, you being harmed from other people, and then you bringing the way they harm you to me.
Yeah. Or just like indirect effects of
people of you not standing up. Yeah. So
Yeah, so
yes,
that's my ugly truth, and it's like, dang, I'm just really, really, really hope and pray, maybe with age and time, that I continue to try to outgrow it. I think one way that I've been able to, but one way I will give myself some grace is I feel like definitely I'm like most of my issues that I have with people in my life, I have been the one to make the initial confrontation. But at that point, I'm already done with them. So that's the flaw.
yeah,
Because it's like you wait until you're done and until you're at your wits' end to confront people, and that's not good. Like, cause that's almost wimpy. Because like you're confronting people with the element of I'm gonna say everything I need to say, and then I'm not gonna speak to you again. Instead of telling people what they need to hear and then still continuing to speak to them. It's like I'm almost like I just don't. This is I don't know. I don't know what it is. Don't know what it is. I'm gonna have to get to the root of it. I'm gonna go to therapy. And
I
see.
think part of the problem is that you've always just been around people that you're better than, and I think that that's always like a bad place to be in, because when everybody else is doing less than you, and I know we have different measures of success, but I think in all aspects you're more successful than, well, at least historically. So I'm not sending any shots at anybody right now, but
Yeah.
at least just historically, you've always been at the pinnacle or top of the friend group in terms of appearance, uh, relationship status, your amount of money you get, style, like anything you could think of as a stat, you've always historically been better than everybody, and
For
that
sure. I even go back to high school, but like all my friends tried to do track and cross country, and I was the only one that was varsity with no effort. Like I'm not talking down on them, but it's just kind of like I've always dealt with that. Like this being like the one thing that people had on me in school was like I wasn't like honor society. I wasn't like I had friends that were smarter than me, right? But like there was definitely like that always being like the with no effort. Like I'm not even trying to talk down on people, but like you said, I'm disagreeing with you. Like just kind of being on the higher end of things.
yeah,
Whether you call it luck, whether you call it, I don't know. And
anything.
that's,
It's just,
yeah.
so it's always a tough position to be in, because then it just like is a breeding ground for hate. Because because imagine, because that's what happens, I think, even in like celebrity friendships, right? Like imagine, uh, like someone like Drake has hundreds of millions of dollars supposedly, and I don't pocket watch. I don't know. Maybe he does. Maybe he's a multi-billionaire. I wouldn't know. Nor do I care. But take somebody in his position and imagine all his friends around him. He wasn't like uplifting them and giving them money, and they were all just still wherever they were at.
Yeah.
And that's like an extreme example, but it's just to like give it like a personified version of what that would feel like if you're the Drake of the friend group. You're gonna be, people always say the Beyonce of the group. Like there's gonna be some hate and some disdain for that comes your way
So you're
because
gonna
of that.
deal with like sideways comments. You're gonna deal with people trying to maybe ruin things of you. You know, mess with your relationship, like we talked about. Steal your clothes, like
Yeah, like because for them it's just like they're so close proximity to something great, and if they're not also doing great, I just think you put yourself in a lot of those kind of friend groups and not really were able to find someone or friends that are in the same realm as you. And I think because of that, it led to a lot of anger or disdain from their end. Not necessarily you, because you're just chilling,
I'm just chilling,
but for everybody else.
and I don't even care like what they're doing. Like I'm bigging them up and supporting them in the areas that they are excelling in.
Yeah,
But they can't support me.
And for them, it's like that kind of stuff. So then you want to people please and
try to keep the peace and
not
let
say
them
anything.
let them say things and do things, and knowing that it's like hurting me or like affecting me, and just letting them still do it, just because I'm trying to keep the peace.
Yeah.
And who wants to accuse someone of being a hater, their own friend, right? Like it's like you don't want to do it, and then you do that, and then you're the bad guy, right? Like if I would say, "Oh, you being a hater," then now it's you're the bad guy, and now it's you think you're better than everybody because they already think that they already feel that way about you, even if you don't feel that way, right?
Mm-hmm.
I never felt like I was better than people, but they might have felt that way about me. So now if I accuse you and call you out of being a hater, now that puts me in a bad position because now it's like, oh, now you're living up to what they already put on
what they already thought.
So it's like that's why I've always been in such a hard position, and then obviously it gets to a point where they can't take it. They just do it gets they show their true colors, and then now I finally can speak up and say everything I've always wanted to say.
Yeah.
And now it's like, damn.
Yeah, you gotta not do that across all your relationships.
Yeah, even work, because that could affect you at work too.
Yeah.
Because like haters, travel everywhere. So if you're in the workplace, the haters could be there too, because a lot of times you see, especially in the workplace, with women, they let themselves go. They start looking crazy, and if you're coming in still looking good, still looking fit, still looking cute, still doing your makeup, still doing your hair nice, having nice outfits, you're gonna get hate at work too.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to deal with this now before I snap, and then I'm gonna be crazy.
Yep.
I'm gonna go to therapy. I'm talking about
You should go to therapy, and you should go without me.
Well, yeah, if I do decide to go, I will decide to go without you, and then handle all my stuff first. And if it had to get to a point, if we had to bring you in to handle our relationship stuff, then you would.
I would sincerely hope that's not the case.
It might not be, but maybe like if we got to the point where we had talked to her or him about our relationship, and then maybe she was like, oh, maybe. I mean, I don't think we need couples therapy, but if they wanted to like say like, oh, maybe you guys should, they might suggest it as separate outside of them. But I have so many layers to me. I have like my childhood to go through. I have like my friendship trauma to go through. My personality stuff I gotta figure out. It's a lot.
Yeah.
Probably been there for years.
Yeah. If anybody's listening to this clip and you have an ugly truth that you would like to share that you found over the years, definitely feel free to comment it, and we would love to hear about other people's perspectives on some crazy stuff, because there might be things that we're not thinking of that we actually did go through. But
sometimes we didn't though. Like even this Reddit post, like somebody what their like ugly truth is, which is about like death. But like when you're a kid, death is not. But some people, for us, I feel like it's impactful, but not as much as some people, because based off this post, they was talking about people who lost friends young. Like luckily we haven't. Well, you've kind of experienced that, right? Like we just talked about that the other day about people at your school. But they're talking about like firsthand dealing with it, like between the ages of like 10 to like 20, like your friends dying.
I never had a friend die when I was really young, but I do remember there was one child that died, and I forget what he died from, but I think it was like a medical issue. My first rush with that was I might have been in, God, man, I was definitely younger than 7, so it was anywhere between 4 and 7 years old was the first time I ever like dealt with the concept of like someone dying, because it was somebody that died in the school, and then they had like a memoriam thing, and he was a kid.
Yeah.
But I still didn't get it.
Yeah.
I guess these things still were like foreign concepts to me.
Yeah.
So it's like, what is death? Like, what do these things mean? But after that, dealt with a lot of it.
Like, and that's what they were saying. Like that was their ugly truth. Was like that we're not immortal. We're not invincible. Because when you're a kid, you feel that way, right? Like when you're a kid, there's no concept really of that. Like you feel like life is infinite when you're young, right? It's like you just feel, because the days feel so long. So you just feel like time is endless, and you're so far from 21. Like when you're 10, you're like, oh my God, 21. Oh my God, that's so far. And now we're at 27. It's like, oh. So, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ugly truths.
There's a lot.